If I saw you at a freak off, would you be the same? If I saw you at a freak off, we must be strong. We must be strong to carry on. But I know it won't be long. Here in heaven, smash that like button, guys. This is breaking news, and I'm not surprised. Do you know my name? Do you know my name? If I saw you at a free call, would it be the same? Would it be the same? If I saw you at a free call, you guys cannot be surprised. I'll find my way to come and stay, 'cause I know it won't be long. Him to freak off again. Smash that like button. Breaking news. Salute to everybody in the building. Shout out to my baby, the lounge in the building, Pure Survival. This is crazy, but I'm not surprised during survival. I told every last one of y'all that there was a strong possibility that Diddy Glover would receive a mistrial during survival. Y'all act like we was all looking at a total different trial. Like you motherfuckers wasn't watching the same thing that I've been watching and getting mad at your favorite content creators, Pure Survival, getting mad at us for telling y'all what the hell is happening during survival inside of the trial. Motherfuckers getting mad at us because we telling y'all what we see happening. You know what I'm saying? Like when I started this out, I said Diddy Glover's guilty. Diddy Glover's guilty. Diddy Glover is guilty. I want to see the tape with him clapping Justin Bieber's cheeks. Pure Survival. While Usher's sitting in the corner holding on his skates, waiting for his turn to get his cheeks clapped and fight over cereal next. But I have not seen the tape with Usher fighting Diddy Glover over the goddamn cereal. Pure Survival. I have not seen Justin Bieber's cheeks getting clapped all over the walls. I have not seen the minors. All I saw was Cassie go up there and say she enjoyed a freak off. Pure Survival. Then I seen Jackie Chan's daughter talking about how much she enjoyed a freak offs. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm telling you now, a mistrial is on the way, and white America said so during survival. I'm not listening to no YouTube content creating motherfuckers during survival because I understand the business and I understand motherfuckers to say whatever they want to say for the money during survival instead of telling you the goddamn truth. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, shout out to the other content creators. But you are not listening to Tisa Tell Lies, Spell the Bible. You are listening to Jamil, Mr. I Am Goddamn Comedy, and I'm going to tell you what white America is saying. I'm not listening to the Negroes. Because those type of people are trying to say shit so they can get into white America, Pure Survival. And then once they get into white America, they're going to look at them and kick their ass right out. Look, you ain't one of us during survival. We were using you to make Diddy Glover look terrible. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what they're going to do. This is exactly what I see. They are saying what they feel that white America want to hear. But when I'm hearing white America say, we don't think the motherfucker, we don't think that he's a Rico dude either. Pure Survival. So I'm not going to listen to Tisa Tell Lies. I'm not listening to none of the motherfuckers because they want to get down with them people. I'm going to tell y'all what I see and what white America's saying. They don't believe it either.
Prostitution, right? The prostitution, which, by the way, let's not forget, That's up to 10 years in prison. It's a federal charge. He's facing 2 of them. So
he's never going to get 10 years. It's
you don't think so?
No, I think, look, I don't know how this judge is looking at this case. I know initially, early on.
Then did you just hear what this boy just said, pure survival? There are 2 different kinds of white America during survival. You got this white America that wants to prosecute Diddy Glover, pure survival. Then you have this white America that's saying, I know damn well that y'all do the same freaky shit. Y'all are doing this shit on purpose, pure survival, just to show and make an example out of Diddy Glover. Because we all know that Diddy Glover is terrible. We all know that Diddy Glover is horrible. He's a horrible boyfriend, a horrible human being during survival. But we are talking about a RICO charge. We talking about John Gotti. I don't see Diddy Glover moving bricks and keys like a piano, pure survival. I don't see him selling little girls and trafficking them across America. That's what a gut tag on RICO charge is, guys. Everybody was just judging it off of how terrible he is. We know he's terrible. But if Diddy was locked up for assault, motherfucking aggravated assault, murder, I would have said guilty of anything. Even if the murder wasn't even fucking proven. I don't care. But RICO, absolutely not. White America is saying something totally different, and I'm listening to them.
Church facing 2 of them. So
he's never going to get 10 years. It's
you don't think so?
No, I think, look, I don't know how this judge is looking at this case. I know initially, early on, he made a comment off the record, not in front of the jury, that he felt like this case was based on gossip or something, or rumor. And I don't know how he feels. If he feels like the government really overreached and wasted tax dollars, he's ultimately the sentencer here. And
do y'all hear that? The judge is ultimately the sentencer here. Pure survival. And if the judge feel like they wasted taxpayers' money during survival, they wasted taxpayers' money with Diddy Glover. This is what they are saying. You know what I'm saying? They wasted all of this money so the feds don't want to look stupid, pure survival. And I told y'all, only listen, if Diddy get found guilty of anything, I would say give him the sex trafficking, pure survival. Even though the men didn't say that Diddy sex trafficked them. But if you want to give him something, you can give him that. But I just can't do the RICO John Gotti shit, pure survival. And I told y'all I can't listen to the niggas that's up there on goddamn YouTube trying to tell y'all a whole different thing so they can get down with them. And even they are saying, motherfucker, this shit was an overreach. They overcharged it. Mistrial all day.
he's never going to get 10 years. It's
You don't think so?
No, I think, look, I don't know how this judge is looking at this case. I know initially, early on, he made a comment off the record, not in front of the jury, that he felt like this case was based on gossip or something, or rumor. And I don't know how he feels. If he feels like the government really overreached and wasted tax dollars, he's ultimately the sentencer here. And but I don't think under any circumstance he's getting the max. But I think that's where.
Now y'all hear that? You got people running around saying that Diddy Glover is going to get the max during survival. Do you hear what Miss Rebecca is saying? Do you hear what Becky's mom is saying? Do you hear what Sue Ann's mom is saying? Survival. She's saying that Diddy is not going to get the max. Motherfuckers is running around tomorrow. He gonna get life. They're gonna give Diddy the electric chair. Pure survival. They're going to give him double life. He's going to get a death sentence. Everybody's saying this. He gonna get 10 years. He gonna get 15 years. He gonna get 20 years. Pure survival. But then you have white America saying something totally different. Who should I listen to? You are white America. Pure survival.
It was based on gossip or something, or rumor. And I don't know how he feels. If he feels like the government really overreached and wasted tax dollars, he's ultimately the sentencer here. And but I don't think under any circumstance he's getting the max. But I think that's where his fairness will kick in. How serious does he think this conduct was, and how much has the prosecution abused their power in prosecuting Diddy? But I think also you have to understand that there's mitigating factors here, that the idea that he was using drugs, abusing drugs, And there's been a lot of testimony about, was he under the...
And do y'all understand what Becky's mother is saying? She's saying that Diddy Glover was a dope fiend. Pure survival. Judge Mathis said that Diddy Glover was a dope fiend. And Judge Mathis is real good for picking out crackheads. You ever watch the Judge Mathis show? He pick out crackheads like kids finding Easter bunnies at an Easter egg hunt. Pure survival. You know what I'm talking about? When the little kids looking for Easter eggs, Judge Mathis looked for crackheads. Soon as they come in his courtroom, pure survival. So Diddy was also a damn crack fiend. So that's going to play a part in this trial during survival. Because no matter what nobody say, the results is about to come out by Wednesday. And they are talking about mistrial, hung jury type of shit.
His fairness will kick in. How serious does he think this conduct was, and how much has the prosecution abused their power in prosecuting Diddy? But I think also you have to understand that there's mitigating factors here, that the idea that he was using drugs, abusing drugs, and there's been a lot of testimony about, was he under the influence when he did this? Was he under the influence when he did that? I think that's not only going to be argued in closing argument to show that the Sean Diddy that you would be convicting is not this guy, it's not the real guy, it's the guy that was under the influence of drugs, right? But it's also going to matter at sentencing for mitigating factors. I definitely, if he's, okay, let me just say this.
Now pay attention to what Becky's mother about to say right now. Pure survival. So tell me this. You want to get mad at me for telling y'all it's going to be a mistrial, right? Tell me what y'all going to say to Becky's mother, pure survival, when Becky mothers tell you it's going to be a mistrial.
Guy's not the real guy, it's the guy that was under the influence of drugs, right? But it's also going to matter at sentencing for mitigating factors. I definitely, if he's, okay, let me just say this. I am reading the tea leaves already, okay?
Shocker.
Right? Okay, so I believe this is going to be a hung jury on sex trafficking, a guilty on prostitution, and a not guilty on racketeering. That's my personal belief today.
Do you just hear this? A hung jury. Not guilty on RICO, not guilty on sex trafficking, pure survival. But everybody else is saying that except white America during survival. And I know what y'all gonna try to say. Y'all gonna say Becky's mom probably got a black boyfriend, pure survival. That's what y'all gonna say. She likes African American wiener. That's all y'all gonna say, pure survival. Just because she's not saying that Diddy is a good guy. She's not saying that he's a wonderful motherfucker, pure survival. She's speaking on RICO charge.
Sean Diddy that you would be convicting is not this guy, it's not the real guy, it's the guy that was under the influence of drugs, right? But it's also going to matter at sentencing for mitigating factors. I definitely, if he's, okay, let me just say this. I am reading the tea leaves already, okay?
Shocker.
Right? Okay, so I believe this is going to be a hung jury on sex trafficking, a guilty on prostitution, and a not guilty on racketeering. That's my personal belief today. Could change tomorrow, okay?
Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with what this girl is saying. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't agree with Becky's mom. That's all I got to say. 1 if you agree with Becky's mom. Put a 2 if you don't.
Say this. I am reading the tea leaves already, okay?
Shocker.
Right? Okay, so I believe this is going to be a hung jury on sex trafficking, a guilty on prostitution, and a not guilty on racketeering. That's my personal belief today. Could change tomorrow, okay?
Now you hear that, right? Now let me show you this is the African Americans that's a part of white America, you know what I'm saying, that's changing their story now that they see that white America is saying, we don't even believe it. Pure Bible. And I was proud that they was not afraid to lose their job for keeping it real. You know what I'm saying?
Sean Diddy Combs. The prosecution got the last word on Friday. They accused the defense of making excuses for the music mogul and blaming his victims. The closing defense argument was that the prosecution exaggerated its case against Combs with evidence of his swingers lifestyle and personal drug problems, but not a criminal enterprise. If convicted on all counts, Combs could face life in prison. Monique Presley was with us when this trial started, and she is back with us now as it wraps up. She's an attorney, crisis manager, and host of Make
Now listen to Monique, pure survival. Listen to what this woman say.
It Makes Sense with Monique Presley. Good to have you this morning. Let's start here with this racketeering charge, arguably the most serious here. The defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, highlighted to the jury that there were none of those high-ranking deputies, the inner circle called. We heard about the ex-chief of staff, but she was not called as a witness. Do you find that problematic, and do you believe that the prosecutors have made their case on racketeering?
No, I do not. I think.
Did you hear what she just said? Smash that like button, everyone. Pure survival. Are you going to listen to Tisa tell lies? Pure survival. Or are you going to listen to a real lawyer? Not a goddamn YouTube want to be motherfucking reporter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I react to shit comically. I don't want to be no journalist. As a matter of fact, you want to be a journalist, so you agreeing with anything. You saying terrible things on purpose just to get on Nancy Grace, pure survival. And I'm sorry, y'all. I wasn't going to call that girl out because I went in her face. I've seen her in person. I sat 2 rows next to her in Diddy Glover's trial, pure survival. And I respect people if they tell the truth on what's really going on in there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just trying to be biased to try to get down with white America, pure survival, when white America's gonna kick your ass to the side. They even saying that they don't believe it. So why are you trying to go all hard? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, what are you going to say if it come out mistrial or come out just guilty on prostitution, pure survival? That ain't no time. That ain't no life in prison and all that type of shit. Pure survival. And everybody know I made fun of Diddy for a year and a half. There's people that think Diddy Glover put a hit out on my tasty cakes because they think that I'm standing up for Diddy right now. Pure survival. Motherfuckers is like, Diddy sent one of his freak off. He sent somebody from Ray J's, what is that called? The agency, and they clapped Jamil's cheeks. Pure survival. It made Jamil change his mind. They ain't make me change my mind. What made me change my mind is when I looked and saw the trial. I've been at the trial. Pure survival. So I'm going off of what I see happening during survival. And I told y'all who I'm listening to. Listen to what that woman say. She said, I do not see a goddamn RICO charge. We are not saying that Diddy is a nice guy. I'm just saying I don't see him as Scarface, Tony Montana, pure survival.
Of those high-ranking deputies, the inner circle called. We heard about the ex-chief of staff, but she was not called as a witness. Do you find that problematic, and do you believe that the prosecutors have made their case on racketeering?
No, I do not. I think that the racketeering charge was always the one that was the big stretch, something that we talked about before. And frankly, many of us who have been watching this case were waiting for the beef, waiting to figure out how you have a racketeering case when you don't have any conspirators who are charged.
Do y'all hear that? Everybody who just wants the guilty verdict just because we know that he's a terrible guy, pure survival. But like she said, they have not proven that Diddy Glover is no RICO freak-off mafia guy, pure survival. How is a billionaire that's buying wiener sandwiches? He was buying wiener sandwiches, flying wiener sandwiches out, pure survival. You know what I'm saying? But he was not selling the wieners. He was getting the wieners for himself. It was a personal motherfucker. It was a personal health, I forget what they call that shit. But when it was his. He was buying wiener sandwiches for himself. Pure survival. He wasn't selling the wieners. Do y'all know what sex trafficking really is? When you throw somebody in the car and you take them, put duct tape over their mouth, pure survival, sell them off to another country. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't selling them dudes. And she is telling y'all that this is not a sex trafficking thing. And if they don't get sex trafficking, because that's the biggest one, that's the one they want to give them life in prison, pure survival. If they're not going to give them that, then what you think they're going to give Diddy Glover? Prostitution, right? Pure survival. That's the smallest charge. This looking like a mistrial.
I've been watching this case. We're waiting for the beef, waiting to figure out how you have a racketeering case when you don't have any conspirators who are charged. How you have one then by the time the trial is ending where none of the people who would be considered co-conspirators have actually showed up in the courtroom, sat in the
And that's another thing, guys. None of Diddy Glover's co-conspirators. When you are running a racketeering type of thing, you have to have more than just him. Pure survival. He needs co-conspirators. He needs motherfuckers to say, look, I knew it. Diddy told me to go get the wiener, and we were going to put the wiener and the mayonnaise and mustard and ketchup on the wiener. Pure survival. Don't know. Diddy is all by himself. He is a freak. He is disgusting. He's all of those things. But we got to prove racketeering and all of that. And I don't see it, and neither does white America. Pure survival.
that the racketeering charge was always the one that was the big stretch, something that we talked about before. And frankly, many of us who have been watching this case were waiting for the beef, waiting to figure out how you have a racketeering case when you don't have any conspirators who are charged. How you have one then by the time the trial is ending where none of the people who would be considered co-conspirators have actually showed up in the courtroom, sat in a chair, sworn to tell the truth before a jury and given testimony that would support that. And so it really just seems where the most serious of charges and the one where prosecutors have the most discretion is the one where it seems like they overcharged and basically.
And do y'all hear this? Now, why ain't Tisa Tells Lies not telling y'all that the damn people overcharge? Pure survival. Why won't she tell y'all the damn truth? Pure survival.
This morning, let's start here with this racketeering charge, arguably the most serious here. The defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, highlighted to the jury that there were none of those high-ranking deputies. The inner circle called. We heard about the ex-chief of staff, but she was not called as a witness. Do you find that problematic, and do you believe that the prosecutors have made their case on racketeering?
No, I do not. I think that the racketeering charge was always the one that was the big stretch, something that we talked about before. And frankly, many of us who have been watching this case were waiting for the beef, waiting to figure out how you have a racketeering case when you don't have any conspirators who are charged. How you have one then by the time the trial is ending where none of the people who would be considered co-conspirators have actually showed up in the courtroom, sat in a chair, sworn to tell the truth before a jury and given testimony that would support that. And so it really just seems where the most serious of charges and the one where prosecutors have the most discretion is the one where it seems like they overcharged and basically reached for the moon and fell short.
They overcharged and reached for the moon like that little white boy that was on a bike with E.T. Pure survival. Did you hear this, ladies and gentlemen? That they reached for the moon, the prosecution. They reached for the goddamn moon. Pure survival. They were just, I'm trying to tell you this right now. Mistrial, and I'm telling you, at the max of what he's gonna be found guilty for is going to be the prostitution. Pure survival. This was bigger than Nino Brown, y'all. This ain't even about Diddy Glover. Pure survival. This is bigger than Diddy Glover's free calls, baby oil, and Astroglide. Pure survival. If anything, Diddy done taught people extra shit to use in the bedroom sexually. Motherfuckers is using Astro. I didn't even know what Astroglide was. Pure survival. And I'm not into that. But I'm just saying, you got people going and buy extra Astroglide, all types of shit during survival.
To tell the truth before a jury and given testimony that would support that. And so it really just seems where the most serious of charges and the one where prosecutors have the most discretion is the one where it seems like they overcharged and basically reached for the moon and fell short.
So one of the prosecutors, let's just keep going down the list here of charges. One of the prosecutors, Christy Slavic, told the jury that They don't need to find that every freak off or every hotel night was an instance of sex trafficking. They just need to find one. And the defense says, well, how was Sean Combs supposed to know which one was sex trafficking? Is the prosecutor right here? And what do you make of this rebuttal from the defense that
And everybody's sitting there talking about some, it only take one time, Jamel. It only take one time. Pure Bible. Won't you put yourself in them shoes? Pure Bible. You know what I'm talking about? How are you going to do some disgusting stuff, you know what I'm saying, with somebody 100 times, Pure Bible, and then out of nowhere you say, well, one of the times I didn't want to do it, and he got to stomping around, Pure Bible, pissed off, because he's like, damn, you done did all this nasty shit, had these orgy fests 100 times, Pure Bible, and you're going to say no one time? Bitch, it's my birthday, Pure Bible. How you going to say no on my birthday? And you did it on Father's Day. You did it on Mother's Day. You let these dudes pee on you on Halloween. Pure Bible. You know what I'm talking about? And then now you just say one time, oh, I didn't want to do it. Come on. Put yourself in them shoes. Ladies, if a man been doing all this freaky shit, going down, going inside of your Long John Silver's, eating that motherfucking fish, you know what I'm talking about, real, pure Bible, and then he say one day, oh, I got a fucking pubic hair in my mouth, pure Bible, I didn't want to do it, and she forced me, and I got pubic hair, pubic regions all in my teeth, pure Bible. Somebody get me a Q-tip. I'm going to the feds. Ain't you gonna tell the feds that man done went down and ate my real 100 times? I don't know what he talking about. He lying like a motherfucker. Pure the Bible. He was eating a kitty cat. Real. You know what I'm talking about? That's bullshit. You ain't gonna do it all those motherfucking times, and then one time you just allowed to say you was being sex trafficked or you were being R-worded. Pure the Bible. Get the hell on out of here. Common sense tell you that shit is bullshit.
I'm supposed to know which one was sex trafficking? Is the prosecutor right here? And what do you make of this rebuttal from the defense that if they don't know that they were all sex trafficking, how is Combs supposed to know?
Well, and that's an obvious one, right? That I think the jury will understand once they're instructed on Monday morning. There still has to be intent. You've got to prove the mens rea, the specific intent to commit a crime. You can't.
And that's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. You know how they say when Jane Ho wanted to get orgied out for 100 times and she could say no one time, pure survival, they have to prove that Diddy demonically in his head said, look, I'm going to traffic her tonight. I'm not talking about tomorrow, pure survival. I'm going to traffic her tonight. They have to prove, they got to go inside of Diddy Glover's freak off brain and say, okay, in his freaky ass brain, he was demonically forcing this girl. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for them. I felt bad when I thought it was real victims, pure survival. Before I found out that these were just ex-girlfriends, hungry and motherfucking thirsty, pure survival. All these women out here had to go work hard, bust their ass, and all these girls had to do was back it up. Pure Bible, and get a whole bunch of baby oil on them, and they get to get paid $10,000 a motherfucker month. Pure Bible. Y'all ladies should feel bad about that. I think y'all just mad because of seeing the demonic beating that he did on tape. That was horrible. If they would have charged him with assault, aggravated assault, I would have said guilty. Pure Bible. You know what I'm talking about? Cassie should be a nightmare to y'all ladies. Cassie is the kind of girl that your husband will go sneak and cheat on you with. Cheat behind your back. Pure Bible. Y'all talk about, oh, Cassie a victim. Cassie goes to funerals. When Cassie will go to your funeral and then sleep with your motherfucking husband, right? The same day after they put you in the ground, pure Bible, she backing it up. She's slipping and sliding in Diddy Glover's baby oil swimming pool while you getting dropped in the ground. Didn't she do that to Kim Porter? I feel bad for Kim Porter. Rest in peace, pure Bible. Now, we can't prove that Diddy took her life, but I think he had something to do with it. If they would have been charging him with that, I would have said guilty. I don't give a damn. Guilty. Pure survival. But I'm not saying guilty for no racketeering and trafficking these girlfriends that got mad because he wouldn't wife them, go into the courtroom talking about I still love him. Pure survival. Bitch, how you love me when you got me in this motherfucker? Pure survival. You sitting there talking about you love me. I'm paying for your lawyers for you to prosecute me? What the fuck? Come on, man. I'm sorry. I go off of right and wrong. Pure Bible. I'm not saying what the system want me to say. I'm keeping it real. And if a motherfucker don't like it, Pure Bible, I don't give a damn. Go to Tisa Tells Lies. Pure Bible. If she's saying what you want to hear, because you got motherfuckers that just only want to listen to the motherfucker say guilty, guilty. He's going to jail forever. So they don't like to come to a motherfucker that's going to tell the truth. It ain't looking right, y'all. Listen to
I'm supposed to know which one was sex trafficking. Is the prosecutor right here? And what do you make about this rebuttal from the defense that if they don't know that they were all sex trafficking, how is Combs supposed to know?
Well, and that's an obvious one, right? That I think the jury will understand once they're instructed on Monday morning. There still has to be intent. You've got to prove the mens rea, the specific intent to commit a crime. You can't just do a thing and not know that it is a crime and not mean to do it. And for this particular offense, have it be the case. Yes, the prosecution is right. You would need to see that it happened at least once, but it would have to be that it happened with intent and knowledge of the defendant.
And why ain't Tisa Tells Lies telling y'all this shit? Yeah, it's true. The feds can get you if they say, oh, it was one time. You know what I'm saying? But why ain't she telling y'all that they got to prove that Diddy was demonically doing it on purpose? I'm telling you, when they say mistrial this come Wednesday, that weave is going to be so dry. Somebody going to have to take Tisa Tells Lies some motherfucking water and put it on that dry ass motherfucking weave. I don't give a damn. Put some water on that motherfucking weave. Because I'm telling you, that shit going to be dry as a motherfucker outside that goddamn courtroom. With that Catwoman outfit on. Real, she going to be looking stupid as a motherfucker.
Is right. You would need to see that it happened at least once, but it would have to be that it happened with intent and knowledge of the defendant. And it's going to be buttressed against the times when both parties would have to concede that the victims, in this case, the alleged victims, permitted certain actions, made certain choices, did certain things of their own volition.
Of their own volition. Cassie chose with her own volition to keep going back to Diddy Glover, knowing that he was a demon. Cassie knew that Diddy was a demon more than we do. Cassie knows stuff about Diddy that she's seen him do. That the horror, the trauma. Why does she keep going back to that motherfucker for 11 years? Explain that to me. Because I'm not going with the teenage thing. Oh, she was 19 years old. She was 19 years old with more than 100 bodies. Cassie had more bodies than Kim Kardashian inside of her kitty cat. Real? Somebody take that motherfucker pussy to the veterinarian. That kitty cat needs to go get some Band-Aids and some bandages and shit. I know that vagina been through everything it wanted to go through. That vagina been through a whole bunch of shit. I bet you if you take Jane Ho and Cassie's vagina to a doctor, we're going to take her to a doctor. The doctor, we're going to take her to Dr. Kinsmell. Dr. Kinsmell. Motherfucker gonna go and put that motherfucking kitty cat on the goddamn girl. Put it on there. Doctor gonna go down there. Okay, doctor, welcome to Dr. Kinsmell. I can smell there's a problem down there. And Dr. Kinsmell gonna come out the goddamn room and say, I'm sorry, Cassie Ventura, but your pussy done passed away. That vagina done passed away. Somebody let that motherfucking kitty cat rest in peace. Real.
The victims, in this case, the alleged victims, permitted certain actions, made certain choices, did certain things of their own volition, left and came back to do them again. And so the jury is going to have to balance that. Is that something that they would buy? That a person would 16 times intend to do a particular act, but then on one night, absent any proof of physical.
You see that? So 16 times a person volunteers to do all these sex acts, and then one night I'm just going to decide to R-word you. when 16 other times you done did it voluntarily? You don't sound like a girl that you got a fucking R word because of Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, they will have to prove it. The judge and the jury is going to have to believe that she was doing all these nasty things. We done seen the freak off tapes, because of Bible. They done seen Cassie get peed on. They done seen her enjoying the motherfucking golden showers, rubbing the pee all in her eyes and all that shit. Motherfucking cum stains all on her eyebrows. You don't think they saw that in the freak off tapes? Pistol Bible? And she didn't look like no victim. Even motherfucker, what's his name? The Punisher said that Cassie seemed like she was having a good time. She was eating McNuggets and nutsack juice. Pistol Bible.
Did certain things of their own volition, left and came back to do them again. And so the jury is going to have to balance that. Is that something that they would buy? That a person would 16 times intend to do a particular act, but then on one night, absent any proof of physical coercion, that one time was against their will. That's something that the jury is going to have to ferret and figure out.
The prostitution charges, the prosecutors put up this board. They showed 27 men that they say were engaged by Sean Diddy Combs.
27 men. Do y'all understand that Diddy has to be proven? Diddy's supposed to have been trafficking 27 men. How come it wasn't 27 children? How come it wasn't 27 women that weren't his girlfriends? Bible, explain that to me. Why did I think in the beginning of this trial, when they ran down and got Diddy, at first, I'm thinking I was going to see kids. I was thinking I was going to see victims. Bible, people that never even slept, that was in a relationship with Diddy. People that Diddy and his alleged co-conspirators grabbed up and threw inside of a van, held them hostage in the freak-off dungeon, Bible, turned on Diddy's music, and then just start torturing and sexually S-wording these people. How come I never seen none of them? All I saw was bitter motherfucking ex-girlfriends. Bible, you how many men in here that got some ex-bitter girlfriends? Do you want your ex-girlfriends to come tell the world what the hell you done did? Bible? And then like I told y'all, motherfuckers love to say, oh, Diddy this and Diddy that. But they not telling on the people who really beat their ass. That's why a lot of females just only going off of the fact of the Cassie video, not understanding Cassie should have told on the motherfucker in 2016. Bible, I would be saying, oh yes, for sure, that's assault. Those are state charges. They want him to get the RICO in the life for what they saw what happened on the tape with Cassie. Bible, but they don't want the dude who beat them up in real life to get life in prison. Bible, explain to me about the dudes that put their hands on you. Because I don't know how many women I met before I became happily married. You know what I'm talking about? But before my time of that, every female I met always talking about somebody abused them. Bible. Oh, he beat me up. When I had some about your ex, oh, I've been hit before. I've been beat. I'm like, so every person I meet, y'all always talking about y'all got beat up before? Bible. So why ain't none of these motherfuckers go to jail? Where I come from, females that get you locked up in a minute, or they go get their cousin or their brother, Bible, and get you up off this earth. I'm like, how come y'all ain't get the dudes life sentences who put their hands on y'all? The reason why y'all so motherfucking bad at Diddy Glover, Bible, y'all ain't telling on that motherfucker. Some of y'all still having sex with a dude who used to beat you up in the past, Bible. Some of y'all motherfuckers right now on the phone with your girlfriend trying to talk her into leaving the abusive nigga that's beating her up, Bible. But you ain't calling the cops on him. Y'all motherfuckers is fake and fucking motherfucker. Not the people in here. But I'm just keeping it 1,000 and 1,000. Fuck that.
This board, they showed 27 men that they say were engaged by Sean Diddy Combs. They only called 2 witnesses. Those 2 witnesses did not testify that they traveled across state lines, which would be the federal nexus. They say that they were not prostitutes. They were not paid for sex. However, there was sex, and afterward they were paid. Who has the stronger case on this? I mean, again, you remind us that the burden is on the prosecutor, but have they reached the threshold?
This is one, frankly, Victor, where I was surprised, and a couple of other people, legal scholars who I've been doing analysis with, were surprised because we thought that this was kind of the easiest of the charges from the beginning. We thought this was the slam dunk, but then when it came to the state having to actually put up the proof
And you see this? She said the sex trafficking was supposed to have been the easiest thing for the state. That's the only thing she say that she can see that Diddy it would have been easy for him to be found guilty. But the two men, come to find out, the two S workers, they didn't even come from a different state. These motherfuckers was in the same city. You know what I'm saying? And none of the men are saying that they were sex trafficked. That's a Bible. Even Cassie got a post. I didn't even remember she put a post up last year that said domestic violence. Pierce her Bible. So why didn't Cassie say sex trafficking? Why did she say domestic violence in her post? Pierce her Bible. This is a damn toxic relationship that we all saw before. And some of us is still seeing this shit today.
From the beginning, we thought this was the slam dunk, but then when it came to the state having to actually put up the proof, and the two that they put on the stand, as you said, did not cross state lines, which is supposed to be required, and don't really have it locked in that even though there was payment, that the payment was by Mr. Combs, and that it was for the purposes of sex. This is, to me, where the prosecution still has the stronger case compared to the other charges. But as I said before, this is one of those weird niche times where a jury's going to do what they want to do. They're going to get those.
And that's the truth. The jury is going to do what they want to do. So if they've been beat up before or some kind of domestic shit, pure survival, some of them may just say, who gives a damn that it's a RICO charge? We just don't like what we saw, the state shit he did, and we just want to see him go down. Pure survival. You can have somebody on that jury that don't want to go by the book, that just want to send Diddy Glover to the moon. Just like you got some people that sitting around because that's what they just want to see happen. As if he's the one who did something to them, but they don't want no justice for the motherfuckers who did shit to them in real life. Pure survival.
Instructions. You hope that they're going to follow them to the letter because that's what makes the system work. But if they believe that they've seen enough for prostitution and buy the prosecution's argument on this, then I think that, compared to the other charges, is the one where we may expect to see a conviction.
Y'all see that? All she's saying is prostitution at the most. It's what we may see a guilty verdict on. None of the other stuff that everybody's hoping and praying for.
And by the prosecution's argument on this, then I think that, compared to the other charges, is the one where we may expect to see a conviction.
Do you give predictions? Better question, will you give a prediction in this case?
Now, do y'all hear this shit? Do you hear what this milk dud head man just said, Pure Survival? You know what I mean? Shout out to him and shout out to her. Professional lawyers. They're not YouTube lawyers. You know what I'm talking about? Or YouTube journalists. Wannabe journalists. Pure Survival. You know what I'm saying? He just asked her, hey, can you give a prediction? Do you give predictions? Listen to what she say, what she predict this case turning out to be. Shout out to Doris Charleston. Hit that super chat, Pure Survival. Hey, Jamil, thanks for your King Kong's Russian. Thank you so much for the super chat, Pure Survival. Now listen to her prediction. Listen what she predict. So for all the people, like I said, motherfuckers like Tisa tells lies, Pure Survival, she telling y'all he gonna get life in prison twice, two life sentences. They're gonna bury him under the jail, is what she's saying. Listen what this woman, a real lawyer, say, what she predicts that's gonna happen during survival.
To see a conviction.
Do you give predictions? Better question, will you give a prediction in this case?
I will say what should happen to me for sure is that there is a not guilty finding on the more serious offenses of rap.
Did you hear what this woman just said? What should happen? Not guilty, y'all. This is a professional during survival. And what she predicts, this is what she predicts.
I will say what should happen to me for sure is that there is a not guilty finding on the more serious offenses of racketeering. I think that there's been too much mud allowed in the water of other uncharged crimes for there to be a not guilty across the board. Mr. Combs' attorney was correct when he said that would be a courageous, bold thing to do. I'm not even certain, based on the evidence, having not been in the courtroom every day, whether that would be the right thing to do. But I am certain that this prosecution overplayed their hand, overcharged the case, talked about victims that never made it into the courtroom, talked about...
Do you hear that? The state talked about victims, alleged victims, that never even showed up to the courtroom. Pure survival. You think that I was going to stick with saying, hey, just give the man life in prison after I done been inside the courtroom? I've been following this for 8 weeks during survival. I felt like Diddy they had all the evidence. I didn't know that motherfuckers was gonna come into the courtroom freestyling. Pure survival. Motherfuckers, give me the mic. I got some lyrics to spit. Yes, Diddy is whack. I remember the time he tried to hit me from the back. My cheeks clapped. Everybody came up there just freestyling off the top of their head. Pure survival. You know what I'm talking about? I swore it was a solid, sealed, delivered case that Diddy was going down 100%. But the only thing that I see is the violence. I see the ignorance, the meanness, the making motherfuckers walk to get cheesecakes, taking money from artists, all this type of stuff like that. I just don't see the mafia stuff, y'all. The mafia stuff. And if they don't fucking see it, and like I said, they the ones who sit next to white America, and white America said, we know it ain't, we don't believe it either. We know that our brothers in the feds reached, and they are the ones pulling back from their shit. So why wouldn't I not? But you got one person running around, not just one, she not the only one. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Tisa ain't the only one that tells lies. You know, there's a couple of these motherfuckers that don't want to admit to the things that's going on and what's being seen in this trial. You know what I'm saying? And I would be cool if they wouldn't be biased, if they would just be in the middle. But I understand they're trying to get down with Nancy Grace, and they're trying to get in the news place, and they want to get down with them until one day they're going to remind them, motherfucker, you ain't. They're going to remind them who they really are. And y'all know in a lot of jobs where you try to kiss ass and get to a certain position, and they always end up coming back and giving you their ass to kiss. Pure survival, like, yeah, motherfucker, you ain't really with us. We just use your stupid ass and use your platform. So I want to hear what she going to tell y'all when they come out and read the verdict. You know what I'm saying? She gonna come out there and talk about they lying. I'm telling you, no, they gotta he should be under the jail. I don't know what you talking about. Or maybe she might switch up like she did with Jay-Z. Pure survival. You remember when they said Jay-Z had the 13-year-old girl? She switched the whole thing up. Started calling Busby liars and all that shit. And then in the beginning, she was talking about, oh, Busby tells the truth. Jay-Z going down. Jay-Z is done. He's a sick motherfucker, 13-year-old. And then jumped right on the Jay-Z bandwagon as soon as he was found not guilty. So that may happen too. We don't know. But like this woman said, if you're going to be mad at me for keeping it real with y'all, then be mad at this lawyer, this professional lawyer, for telling y'all the damn truth.
Could happen to me for sure is that there is a not guilty finding on the more serious offenses of racketeering. I think that there's been too much mud allowed in the water of other uncharged crimes for there to be a not guilty across the board. Mr. Combs' attorney was correct when he said that would be a courageous, bold thing to do. I'm not even certain, based on the evidence, having not been in the courtroom every day, whether that would be the right thing to do. But I am certain that this prosecution overplayed their hand, overcharged the case, talked about victims that never made it into the courtroom, talked about co-conspirators that never made it into the courtroom. And juries have good memories for that. If you overpromise, if you overcharge, if by the time they get the instructions, certain charges that they thought they were going to see aren't there, they start looking at the prosecution funny, not the defense.
Start looking at the prosecution funny. So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself, because this is the big week. This is the biggest week. of this whole Diddy Glover's trial, and I followed the whole thing, and I'm sticking to what the hell I feel and what I see. I don't see sex trafficking. I felt like these people were volunteering, pure survival. This was all up for the money during survival, and God is going to deal with Diddy Glover for all of the other shit that they should have charged him with. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to say that I see no RICO charges. I don't see Diddy getting no life in prison, none of it during survival. And we're going to keep each other posted. But I see a mistrial or him being found guilty on the smallest charge, and then motherfucker going to end up walking during survival.